Hello Internet, and hello book lovers, and in particular sci-fi book lovers. Welcome to another book review by Pete's Media Reviews, and in this episode I'm going to be reviewing the Isaac Asimov book The Robots of Dawn, which is the third in the Elijah Baley series of novels that he wrote, amongst many other things. Yeah, it's a real pleasure to be doing this one. This is another one which goes right back. I mean, I still own the picture you see there is my original copy, purchased with my pocket money from my childhood. I actually bought it in the shop I'm currently working in, which is a little odd, but there you go. I don't know why that's important. It's probably not. Anyway, I've already reviewed The Caves of Steel and The Naked Sun, but this is The Robots of Dawn, and to start with I'm going to be looking at Blurb. Now, this one has got a really great blurb, and the very first sentence captures me, and I'll just read it. Until a humaniform robot, one of the most sophisticated manifestations of artificial intelligence ever created, is murdered. It's a humaniform robot, and it's murdered. So already you know there's going to be issues about, what is human, like the usual sci-fi threads that they that have. But these are really well done. And robots, do they have rights? Are they alive? That kind of thing. There's a very underlying thread of that attached to the undercarriage, which is underneath something else, but it's there. It's in the background. But the blurb, it's really. And if you don't know the Elijah Baley novels, it's still gripping, because the next sentence: only one man on the planet Aurora had the means, the motive, and the opportunity to commit the crime. He hires interplanetary detective Elijah Baley to prove that he did not do it. Armed only with his instincts, his sometimes quirky logic, and the immutable 3 laws of robotics, Baley sets out to solve the case. Of course, the 3 laws of robotics were created by Asimov himself, but it is a sci-fi detective robot novel. Brilliant. Blurb, I've got to give it 10. It's one of the best blurbs ever written, I think. It says everything it needs to. It's succinct enough to be useful as a blurb. It doesn't go on and on and on. But it does what it says on the tin. It says everything it needs to. It gets the job done. So Blurb is a 10 for me. So moving on to storyline then. And, well, like I say, it is a detective novel, and it's great because it's like 4 of the previous books in one, really, or for 3 and a bit perhaps. I just love his the stories of Elijah Baley. He's really relatable, and to think it was, let me see, when was this book written? Copyright's 1983, so going back then, his vision of the future. I mean, some of his earlier books, some of his versions of the future, a lot of them are scarily close. But I digress. But the story in this, which is the usual conundrum, and there's always a forfeit if he doesn't solve the case, and but he does it. He does it in time, which but it's all about the thrill of the chase. It's got a good pace to this story. It's well paced. It doesn't like go to extremes. It maintains a nice steady pace, and it's really good. Storyline again, 10 for me. Absolutely brilliant. So let's go on to writing style then. The classic Asimov, Elijah Baley stuff. Again, wonderfully written. Easily the most easy to read books that he's ever written, in my opinion. And I'm going to give it a 9. I want to give it a 10, but I'm sure there's something there that he could have improved on. But no, I'm giving it a 9. That's pretty darn respectable. It's like I've said before, his command of the English language is pretty phenomenal, and an absolutely brilliant author. And that, I mean, let's not forget, he was a Russian scientist. He's hailed as the maestro of science fiction. He was born in Russia in 1920, but he's such a prolific writer in the English language. It's just incredible. So yeah, writing style, I will give him a 9. just to keep it real. Personal enjoyment, then, I have to score 10. I enjoy the book so much, even knowing the story. I mean, there's obviously on this type of book, there's nothing quite like reading it for the first time and not knowing the outcome or how he gets to the outcome. Bit like watching a movie for the first time ever. But it's a 10. It's so enjoyable to me. This book really is enjoyable. It's a fantastic story. Absolutely fantastic. If you like science fiction, you like robots, why have you not read this book? Go and get it now. It's an absolute high recommend on my list. The last section then, rereadability, again 10, because I've read it and I've read it and I've read it, and I'm going to continue to read it till it falls to bits, which it's on the verge of doing now. And then I'll buy another copy and I'll read that one and I'll read it again. I'm actually at the stage now where I'm thinking I might just keep this copy somewhere safe and buy another copy of it to read. When I bought the book, it was not long out. I remember, as you can see on the picture, it says his epic new robot novel, which it was at the time, and I paid a summary price of £2.50 for it. But yes, fantastic. Definitely a masterpiece, in my humble opinion. So, the blurb gets a 10, the storyline gets a 10, the writing style gets a 9, the personal enjoyment gets a 10, and the rereadability gets a 10. That gets 49 for overall score. 49 out of 50. I want to give it 50 out of 50, but I'm like I say, I'm keeping it real. Heck, it's my channel. But yeah, 49 out of 50. I can read it over and over and over again, and I do not get bored with it, because I love his style, his story, his uniqueness that makes Asimov him, writing this particular story. So there you go, 49 out of 50 for The Robots of Dawn by Isaac Asimov. You should read it now. Well, thanks ever so much for watching this video. I hope you live happily ever after. The end.